Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and this is going to be a special show. You know that because I'm joined by Mike Jones.
Yes, this day only.
Right. So we've been paying a lot of attention in Josephine County politics. This is what we talk about on a county basis to the charter. We are a home rule charter company.
Company, yes.
County, yes, we are a company in a way. We are a home rule county, and we have a county charter. And people are always saying, well, this is not what the charter says. Your salary is not in keeping with what the charter says. Charter.
Yeah, we talk about the charter a lot, but we rarely go and look at it.
So what we're going to do on Sundays now for a while is we're going to go through the charter a piece at a time. Will be by the end of this, and you will be our loyal viewers. And those of you who aren't loyal, hey, get lost. We will be experts on the charter.
This is why this is a non-commercial website here, because we don't really understand the principle of marketing very well.
What we do understand is what we don't know. It becomes increasingly obvious on every show, and we are a daily show. So this is show like 112 or something, and we're painfully
ignorance on display.
We're ignorance on parade.
Yes,
like the other night at the Republican Central Committee. We are painfully aware of what we don't know. Now, maybe you're experts on the charter.
And I'm sure you'll let us know.
Yes, you will. You will. And so what we thought we'd do is we're going to jump straight into the charter. We're going to front load this. We're going to put it right out there and talk about one of the controversial aspects of the charter right away. Then we're going to go back and we're going to start with the table of contents. Yes, because there's a lot of interesting things there. By the time we're done in the next what do you say, Mike, 105 weeks or something like that? we have some idea. Now, one of the challenges with the charter is it has been challenged a number of times. And so there are annotations that go with it. It's not just a matter of looking at a document and say, okay, I've looked at it, or just page through it or something. There are annotations, and there have been legal challenges, even aided by our previous 20 years of a legal counsel who actually went to court against the people who elected him.
Nice.
That's another reason why it's good that we got rid of Steve Rich. Goodbye, Steve. And so we've got Wally Hicks in there now. And so we're going to start right away. Go ahead, Mike, bring up that first page and we'll go straight into the charter. Here we go.
Okay. You know what? I thought I want to go right to the part of the charter that supports an argument that I really like a lot. And that's that Cheryl Walker is kind of in opposition to our morals as a people of this county here.
Wow.
I'd say
and this has to do with this right here.
Yeah,
right
it does.
There. Okay, read what it says, Mike.
It says, section 29.1, the right to bear arms, or actually right to bear arms. Intent. The intent of this charter amendment is to provide the citizens of Josephine County with local protection of one of their inalienable rights as originally defined by our founding fathers in the United States Constitution and Bill of Rights.
One of the things that the founding father says it was an unalienable right, but they were spelling things different back in those days. It is an inalienable. It is one of those rights that can't be alienated. Yes.
Yes. I thank you for throwing me a bone there, Dale. Okay. Section 1, the following provision shall be adopted into Josephine County Home Rule Charter and shall govern all actions by individuals and organizations, both public and private, within Josephine County.
Now, it's not just about individuals. Keep in mind, one of the reasons for the Bill of Rights and other things is not to protect the government from us. It's the other way around.
Right.
To protect us from the government. Go ahead.
So, right. And then they reiterate some of the verbiage from the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
It's in our charter. Right. And then here's the part, Section 2 is very important.
Yes. And see if you can recognize, see if this flashes through your mind, why this kind of stuck in my mind. Okay. Section 2, no elected or appointed officials of Josephine County shall pass or enforce any law, ordinance, resolution, administrative rule, or statute that denies or erodes any of the provision of this charter amendment. Where any current law, ordinance, resolution, administrative rule, or statute within or outside of the Josephine County may be interpreted to deny or erode any of the provisions of this charter amendment, that interpretation is void and is not to be enforced within Josephine County by any individual, group, or federal, state, or local governmental agency or body or agency.
Okay, so Mike, let's switch back to seeing you and me, okay?
Okay.
So this says that if there's any law, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, if there's any law within the United States
right,
that erodes our Second Amendment rights, that in Josephine County alone, it's void.
Yeah. And that's, and this SB 941 thing, we shouldn't even be sweating. Well, it's bothersome that they're doing it, in the state, but if our elected officials are doing their job, it should be of no consequence to us because they're going to protect us from that, Mr. Dave Daniels, Sheriff of Josephine County.
Now, the only weasel word in here, the only gray area word is the word erodes. Erodes. So if a law is directly against what we perceive, what we know to be or perceive to be our rights under the Second Amendment, if it is directly against that, then it's void. If it erodes that right, then we as a people, and I guess that's where the commissioners would become involved in some way, if it's our perception, so that's a word used a lot these days, if it's our perception that it's eroding our rights, then we decide this.
Yes, and I would say that it is my perception that any rule, any regulation of our right, any limitation of our right to keep and bear arms is eroding. I think it's good that it's deny or erode, because erode, I think, pertains to anything, no matter how small, shall not be infringed. What does that mean to you? Everybody parses that in a different way, but and as a matter of fact, gun grabbers, they like to refer to the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. They never even mention that part of the Second Amendment. That they're fixated on the first part of it that says, that talks about a well-regulated militia. Yes, and comma. This is the only part of the English language ever where they say a comma means we need to pause to take our breath, and and so we can just totally disregard the second half of the sentence or something.
So, how does this relate to the vote that the commissioners took the other day, and where Cheryl Walker got into a lot of political hot water when she decided to say that she was not going to vote in favor of a declaration that was on the table of the commissioners? Tell us, Mike, please.
Right. Well, I'd say that she got through that by the skin of her teeth. Because
what was it about?
Well, it was that if SB 941 passes, that that it would not be enforced in Josephine County, and had the majority of the commissioners said that yeah, we're not in favor of that, they questionably would be in violation of the charter. As a matter of fact, someone who even possesses the inclination that they are against the right to bear arms in any way, or favor eroding the right to bear arms in any way, it's questionable whether or not they should even be a commissioner.
It's interesting to me that the commissioners, when they take their oath of office, they pledge to obey the laws of the United States of America, to obey the laws of the state of Oregon, and they don't pledge to follow the charter. They don't.
Yeah, which you would think, you know, it ought to be put forth in this fashion, that they pledge allegiance to the charter, then to the state, and then to the federal government. Because this is their job right here.
When Sandy Casanelli was indicted, when Sandy Casanelli was inducted into the Commissioners Hall of Fame, when she took her pledge, she asked the judge ahead of time, "Can I also do the same thing with the charter?" And the judge told her no. I don't also like that part about "I promise to demean myself," which Simon Hare has proceeded to do as a matter of just fact. But that whole thing, it's like from Old English. I mean, why just speak in English, would you?
Yeah, well, you know what, that's the wording of that fits in perfectly with Simon's vocabulary.
Oh, yes.
I can't speak at all vocabulary.
That's he uses big words, and many times he uses the wrong word. Okay, so it's a small thing. You kind of know what it is that he's trying to say, but in an effort to look educated and grown up, that's even better. Simon does use big words occasionally, and you go, really, why would you use big words when you can get away with a smaller word and communicate with more people?
Right. Hey, and before we bail off of this, let me just read this the section 3 here. No changes or abridgments of any of the provisions of this charter amendment shall be made or enforced by any entity within Josephine County or upon individuals within Josephine County without a 2/3 majority vote of the voters of Josephine County in acceptance.
Wow. Now, can you also roll up to the beginning of this whole thing again, where it says no officials under penalty of death? What was that one? Firing squad? What was it?
Yes.
So they can't amend it unless we take a vote, and it's a 2/3 majority.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Good luck.
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to happen with the charter. Maybe that will happen with this levy, but that would be a minor miracle if it did.
Yeah.
It's above this.
Yes. Right. No elected or appointed officials of Josephine County shall pass or enforce any law, ordinance, resolution, administrative rule, or statute that denies or erodes any of the provision of this charter amendment. Where any current law, ordinance, resolution, administrative rule, or statute within or outside of Josephine County may be interpreted to deny or erode any of the provisions of this charter amendment, that interpretation is void and is not to be enforced within Josephine County by any individual, group, or federal, state, or local governmental body or agency.
So let's talk a little bit about why, as a home rule county, why it's important to us to follow the charter. Mike?
Oh, well, you know, I perceive, and you know, we're going to learn as we go through the charter here, that kind of how I interpret what the home rule means is that that we have a little bit more leeway than some other counties who aren't home rule charters.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
And so then we would somehow take our dictates from the state. I think by default, that's sort of what that means, right?
I'm hoping I have the numbers right, and we'll get Bill Hunker to drop a chart later. I believe there are 36 counties within this state, and I think that about a third of them are home rule counties. So we have certain rights that cannot be trampled upon that other counties don't have. And being rather independent down here, which drives them crazy up in Salem, they think that we're nuts. Being independent of that, we get a chance to decide for ourselves. Now, the only problem with that is that to tell the story that Steve Rich told about himself. Is it true? Well, one thing we know is not everything that Steve Rich said turned out to be true in 20 years. But here's the story that he said, that when there was a amendment to the charter that was passed saying that there would be certain things that the citizens wanted, and to do an amendment to the charter, we'll find out later and confirm this, and then you can see the wording for yourself. It takes a 2/3 vote. That's a lot of people deciding on something. It's like when
that'd be like the junk ordinances.
And I was just going to say that, and like the vote of the Republican Central Committee.
Oh, right, exactly.
80% in favor, or 80% on one side. Okay, it was 80% on the side of saying no to the levy, and 80% on the side of saying no.
Extremists.
To the
they were extremist radicals.
Hey, maybe we are, but it's the majority. Welcome to the winning side.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
So they passed it, and then the commissioners at that time didn't like it, and neither did Steve Rich, our elected legal counsel. So this guy went to court representing himself and the commissioners against the people of the county, and won.
Boy, that should have allowed the citizens to just vacuum out the entire board of commissioners and start over again.
And legal counsel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're all elected. Yeah. Say goodbye to these guys.
And we have to recognize that to this degree, we are sort of asleep and apathetic here. That we would allow something like that to take place without arriving in mass with pitchforks in hand. Amazing. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was asleep and apathetic.
I was wondering what that was. Were you trying to give me the high sign? Hey, Mike, you got to keep going with this for 3 more minutes.
No. I was asleep and apathetic. So why don't you go back, if you will, Mike, and look, don't be upset with us. We're going to start at the beginning. Not at the beginning of humankind, but we're going to start right at the beginning. This goofy logo that we have, it's goofy looking.
And it's mostly obscured by, the amendment notations in the middle of it. Why they did that, I don't know. I mean, are we short on paper here or something?
And what is this big thing that's right in the middle there, Mike?
I have no idea. It looks like, okay, there's an eagle, and then underneath there is the eagle seems to be perched on rays of the sun. And then down below that, it looks like a gold nugget in a big thing. I can't really tell.
What's this wording that's across the middle? What is that?
Well, there's a charter for the county, Josephine County, Oregon.
The big wording right in the middle, the wording that's all in black. What does that say? That says,
well, here, hang on a second. Let's just blow this up really big and take a big look at it.
It's just a design element. It's nothing. That's dumb, because it almost looks like words that you can't read from a distance, but you get up close, it's just
now
bridge.
It looks like this symbol. It looks like a coin or a gold nugget or something, and then there's a spear, and then a pickaxe going through there.
What the heck is
that's
the
interesting.
spear in there for?
I would like to see a better version of this particular logo, just so we know, what it is that's representing.
Look, there's a gerbil. No, maybe not. Okay. Oh, yes, I know what it is. It's a little mole that sneaks around and does lesser services.
There you go.
That's where Keith got that from.
And how and listen, apparently the cost of this is $7.
$7.
$7. See that? It's $7.
Brother. Okay. Go on down to the table of
contents.
All right. So here's what we're going to do, everybody. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about. First, we went straight into that thing about the Second Amendment, talking about Goofy Cheryl Walker and all the rest of it. Then we're going to lay out what we're going to go over, and we're going to go over it a piece at a time. We'll be here every Sunday. So if you don't want to look at this, don't come on
7 hours. 7 hours each Sunday.
Yeah. And we'll talk about what's in the charter. And by the time we're done, then we'll all be just as ignorant. No, we'll all be educated about what's in the charter. So when you speak about the charter in the future, you always must say, well, I learned this on the Dale and Mike show.
Right. And we promise we will quit right before Game of Thrones comes on.
Every Sunday. That's right. Right. Mike actually got HBO to watch the Game of Thrones. It's great.
Oh, hey. My wife might be watching this.
Sorry.
I have to sneak that. She'll want to go buy more yarn if
that's right. Okay. So tell us what this says. Let's just go. And here are the things that are in this way. You don't have to go do it for yourself. It'll be on our show. Here are the things.
This is the exciting part.
Yeah.
Okay. The preamble comes on page 3.
Yeah.
And then chapter 1.
Right.
Preliminaries, the name of, do we really need to cover that?
No.
The nature and legal capacity. What does that mean? The boundaries of Josephine County, I assume that those are represented on a map, and I guess where the county seat is located. And I guess
now it's interesting about the boundaries, because you would think that I never really thought about this, but you would think that this charter would have to be amended like every year.
Yes, because we keep capturing territory from Jackson County and adding.
No, not because of the blue berets going over the corner, over the border and grabbing up stuff today, Germany, tomorrow, the world. No, right. I mean, the boundaries of the city, Grants Pass City, keep changing with the urban growth boundary, UGB, and all the rest of that. And so,
yes, but this is the Josephine County Charter, so I'm assuming that since the city of Grants Pass is contained within the county, that we don't have to change the boundaries of the county.
Okay, all right. Next one, general grant of powers. Now that's a little strange because we're named after. We're named after Grants Pass, so general grant of powers. Okay, so
yes.
This is all about somebody in 1863.
Yes, right, exactly. I've got a great idea, Dale. Let's just make up everything as we go.
No, let's not.
It's like, you ever hear that? And of course, it's politically incorrect to even mention Bill Cosby now.
Yes, that's true.
But he used to say, wait a minute. Was it him that said, teach your kid? Oh, no, it was Steve Martin that said, you want to play a trick on your kid. For the first few years of his life, when you're around him, talk wrong. And then he goes to school and says, Mom, the dog face in the banana patch, puts his hand up and goes, yeah, it's silly. This is stuff that I remember from junior high school, by the way. Sorry about that.
It does sound like it, Mike, but look here.
Yes.
Why are we goofing around a little bit? Because
that's what we do.
That's the kind of show that this is.
Yeah.
Plus,
sorry.
We tried to deliver information to you with just a little bit of humor. Now, how are you going to make the county charter even just a little bit humorous? Okay, yeah. It's a sugar-coated pill, everybody. This is something you ought to know, and we're sure to get. So you need to be more serious about. Yeah. Well,
okay, and put out your own darn video.
I was going to say exactly that. You should do your own show, and everybody will be like,
that's right.
You will never need drugs to go to sleep. They might want them in Cave Junction anyway, but you'll never need anything, any pill to put you to sleep.
Yes. Just play this show and bingo.
Back to the charter. Here we go. Come on now. Stop goofing around, everybody. I'm going to blame our viewers.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yes. And Dale's email address for those emails.
Yes. Construction of powers. Where powers vested, well, I think they should be vested with the people.
That's what I think too.
Okay, we're going to find out if that's what it says in that section 7 of chapter 2. Keep going on down there, bud.
Okay. Chapter 3, Board of County Commissioners. This is our favorite chapter.
I am Board of County Commissioners. Yes.
Yes. And then terms of office.
Okay. But let me explain just a little bit about why. Actually, that's a little bit more interesting than one would think. I'm sitting up close so I can read that. So Simon Hare gets elected to office, but he hasn't taken office yet. What is his term of office? When can one launch a recall of Simon Hare? Well, you have to wait, says Art Harvey. You have to wait until he's been in office for 6 months. Okay, this is the last part of his term before he takes office. Is he not in office? Yes. Has he not been in office for 3 years and 6 months? Yes, he has. Therefore, can he be recalled during his last 6 months in office? Well, no. Now, what do you mean, well, no? What is his term of office? Let me say this in a different way. Let's suppose that Simon Hare got caught for some of the things that we think that he's actually doing, and the Medford City Police say he lied to us. He lied to us.
I was going to say, what are you talking about? We're already there.
Yeah, right. It's in their document.
Right.
Okay. So it's going to be hard for him. I stand up for law enforcement. They don't think that you do. They filed an official document saying that you lied to them. And when their detective came to your front door, you closed the door in his face. Okay. Yes. So can you recall Simon Hare during the last 6 months that he's in office before he takes office again?
I don't know. Maybe that question is answered in the Section 9 terms of office.
Well, it's answered because we have a county clerk that refuses to accept this. And I said, okay, now wait a minute. So he's been in office for 4 years, and now he's in his second term of office. At what point can he be recalled? We have to wait 6 months. Just wait a minute. It's 6 months. He's already been in office for 4 years. This is the second 4 years. No, you have to wait 6 months again.
Yeah, and well, I'm torn on that because that kind of like
I can't see you there, bud.
They just had an election.
Right. I can't see you.
So, I mean, you can't see me now?
Yeah, now I can see you. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good.
At an election. Right.
I was going to say we have an emergency.
Right. And the purpose of this is that what you want to do is you want to at least give the person 6 months to prove whether they're an idiot
give them
or
enough
a
rope to give them enough rope to hang themselves with.
So Art Harvey, the county clerk, says, no, you have to give him 6 months. We already gave him 4 years. We got to give him an additional 6 months?
Yeah, but of course, but we just elected him. But of course, we didn't find out until after he was elected that, he was a moral reprobate.
Right. So I said, since he was caught doing this thing, okay, and people are saying, well, can we recall him now? It's been 4 years. It's not 6 months. It's 4. No, you have to wait another 6 months. So here's where the rubber hits the road. That means during the last 6 months of his previous term and during the first 6 months of his next term, you can't recall the guy. Well, that's a year out of every 4 years where he can do anything he wants to and gets off scot-free. Really? I said that to Art Harvey. He was like, no, I don't interpret it that way. Well, of course he doesn't.
Yes, of course he doesn't.
Yeah, if I think if it was Sandy Casanelli, 6 hours. But I mean, the point is that this guy or any guy, let's suppose you elect some person after 4 years and then they murder somebody. Well, you can't recall him during the first 6 months of his next term unless it says this in the charter. And that's why even little things like term of office, oh, that's a snooze fest. Well, maybe not.
Yes. Maybe not.
That's when you go to the charter to see what it says. We're a home rule county. Can you put up that graphic again there, please, Mike, if you don't mind, please, sir?
There you go.
Okay.
So then you have terms of office, the board chairman. I guess I'm assuming what constitutes a quorum. The meetings and some structure of the meetings. I'm assuming emergency board meetings and ordinances.
Yeah, emergency board meetings has come up in the past. Ordinances has come up in the past. What is a quorum has come up in the past. Breaking state law and getting away with it and laughing all the way. That's, well, Keith Heck, when I say laughing all the way, Keith Heck yelled out in the lobby. I was there when he said, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care. So we'll find out as we wind our way through this whether Keith Heck has been disobeying the charter as well.
Okay.
What does the charter say?
So let's see here. And chapter 4 is finance. Section 14, local budget law, library support. Now, this is the interesting thing in here. I believe that the charter actually says that they have to support the library in some way.
Whatever support means, yes, it does say that. So for the people are saying, wait a minute, why are we spending economic development money on a library when the argument that it supports the economy is kind of, not very clear? Well, we are obligated under our charter to support the library, and the next one, county animal control support. It does not say county animal shelter. It says county animal control.
Right.
County debt limitations.
Yeah, and I'm very anxious to look at and take a pencil to this because of its implications in with this PERS bond or any type of bond actually.
If you're interested in county politics, although you might, I don't know, the charter, because how much time have you actually spent reading the charter? Hello, everybody. Almost everything that's come up that's been controversial in the last couple of years, it's in this document. There's a reference to it.
Right. And I think at the very least, we should be bouncing off of this to give us a basis from which to argue going forward, because, it's going to tell you immediately whether you have grounds or not. So.
Right. That's exactly right. So what's the next one say, Mike?
Okay. Operating budget and capital program projection. Voter approval requirement for capital programs and projects.
That's a very controversial. Yeah,
that's interesting.
And this one is one I think that they're violating all the time, unless. Now, this brings us to a point that we've talked about before. It seems that there have been court challenges to this document, to our charter. Just as there are to the Bill of Rights and everything else in America, there are court challenges, and that the commissioners have often taken a side on that. And for 20 years, they had a legal counsel that would tell them basically everything they ever wanted to do was, oh, that's perfectly fine. In fact, he even said one time, don't worry about it. No one's enforcing the law.
Yes.
So then the question is, what does the document itself really say? And are you as voters going to pay any attention in electing your commissioner next time if he or she says, I really like that high salary. I don't care what the county charter says. I intend to take the high salary. Now, you've heard me say in the past that I'm going to run for county commissioner. I am going to run for county commissioner. Don't worry, I won't get elected. But I'm going to run for county commissioner. And one of the things I can easily pledge right now is I will take no more than what the charter says. Oh, but that's going to be impossible, says Keith Heck, because I've tried that. And I said I would take a lower salary because I don't need more money. And the other two commissioners said, well, they really did say they didn't like that it was making him look bad. They really said that on camera, that it was making him look bad. They did. And so, well, says Keith Hick, I don't want to take the entire amount. Well, you have to take the entire amount, okay? Even though our home rules charter says he's not supposed to have more than $30,000. And what are they making now, Mike? When you add up to all the benefits, isn't it close to $100,000?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's
okay. So that being the case, then how would you obey the charter? I'll tell you what I would do. Here's what Keith Hick said that he would not do. He's not going to take the entire amount, he says, and then have to pay taxes on the entire amount, and then only get to keep 30. Not going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. Now, don't worry, I won't be elected, but I make you a pledge right now. What day is this? This is the 19th of April, 2015. The pledge right now. Yeah. If I'm forced to take the $100,000 or whatever it is and pay taxes on it, I will do so. But I will take the amount that's over 30 and donate that to charity and keep the 30 because that's what the charter says. Now, I'll mop up the floor with any other candidates. Nobody's going to make that pledge.
Right. And what you can easily do is take what goes over 30,000 and then you pay the taxes on the total, of course, because that's what you're going to have to do. You keep 30, and then you donate whatever is over and above the taxation and everything like that. And you just, pick your favorite charity and, go forward from there. It'd be nice if that charity were located here in the community so that money really was going to use here in the community.
It's the only proper thing to do. But this is what Keith Hick said that he wouldn't do. I'm not going to pay the taxes on the entire amount. I mean, that's the point. That's the point to many people. Why would you give money to charity unless it's tax deductible? Because it's our charter. And you've sworn to be an honest, good person. And if you're going to be an honest, good person, you have to do what the charter says. Oh, but I will pay. Yes, you would pay extra. Well, only an idiot would do. Okay, here I am. I volunteer.
And what they're going to do is whip out, that was found unconstitutional somehow. Well, that doesn't mean it isn't right.
That's correct, sir.
They may have found something wrong with it legally where it couldn't be enforced or something like that. But are you doing this as a public service or not?
Exactly. Are you a public servant or not? If we can find two people, because I'll run against Keith Hick. Well, he's not going to run, but I'll run for that office. Somebody run against Cheryl. Everybody and their sister's going to want to run against Cheryl if she decides to run. You get two people up there. Just all you need is two, not 10. Two. All you need is two people. I'll do one of them. Somebody else do the other one. You pledge that you will take only what the charter says. Stop screwing with the people. Stop doing what the charter says you can't do. Obey the will of the people because you're a public servant. Take your 30. You get to keep your 30. And then you take the rest of it. You pay all the taxes on it. I'll never do that. Okay, then don't get elected. And then all the rest of it, this left over after you've paid the taxes, goes to charity because you don't get to pocket it.
Right.
Now, you're either going to be a good, honest county commissioner or you're going to cheat everybody. That's my personal opinion. I will pledge to do that right now.
And then publish your tax returns too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey. Well, here's the thing. You should have waited till tomorrow to make this announcement because tomorrow is 4/20 and then no one's ever going to remember.
It's a reference to marijuana. Yeah, okay, I get it. Well, just a couple of days ago was tax day, 4/15. Right.
Yes, and I have amnesia about that.
Here's
traumatic
the thing.
Amnesia.
Imagine what it would be like, just for fans of the show, and how many of you can there be?
3 or 4.
Yes. Imagine what would happen if you had a county commissioner that was doing what Mike and I do on a daily basis. Transparency.
Well, we've only been doing this for like 3 months. I would expect that the recall would have been the recall petition would have been submitted, and they already would have voted on it, and they'd be leading us out the door by now.
Yeah, and Art Harvey would make it a special exception in our case. Look, for sure, I think they started drawing up the recall papers about Sandy Casanelli the day that she took office.
Sadly.
Yeah, right. But, this would be one of the things I'd like to see more often from a county commissioner whose heart really is in public service. We do this for free. And if you had somebody that was out there doing that and exposing what was happening, every single email that you get is shared with the public. Every email, every phone call that you get, every time someone meets with you, it's taped. You get to see it. You're sitting there with us. Like when I'm in the little back room, you're always there with us. Well, I'm not going to meet with you unless I can meet in secret. I guess then we're not going to meet. What? What do you mean we're not going to meet? No, I cannot meet with you unless the public is there. The public is always there. Now, you may not be interested. Then again, on certain things, you may be vitally interested. It's everything is out in the sunshine. These vampires can't put up with that.
I cannot do that, Sam. I am.
Yeah, they. I'm sorry, Dave. I cannot do it. They would never do that. But we'll make it okay. This is straight from the charter. Let's wind our way through to the end of this table of contents. You're not going to watch the show. The table of contents took 5 weeks. Okay, just go ahead to the next one.
Listen, it's very entertaining.
Yes, well, it better be.
Chapter 5, Administration. Section 16, Administrative Responsibility, Administrative Personnel, Review of County Department Heads. That could be interesting. Administrative Structure, Elective Administrative Officers.
Yes, elective administration officers. The people that showed up during their busy day to hear whether they were going to get raises or not.
Yes, personnel. And then Chapter 6, Personnel, Qualifications, Nomination and Election of County Officers, Recall, Section 22. Everything you wanted to know about recall. Vacancies in office, filling of vacancies. I'm assuming that's you get elected.
Yeah, that happened when they recalled Sandy Casanelli, as they had to fill in vacancy.
Right, yes. Harold Haugen.
Also that was the guy's name I can never remember. He was the one that told us all that he was the most transparent. And the second day that he was in office, I asked a question about some innocuous thing that the commissioners were doing. It says, none of your business what we do as commissioners.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's transparency. Now, compensation.
Yes, sir.
I believe that there's a little $30,000 bugaboo is in there.
And I think this idea that the elected officials, this is just elected officials, compensation committee has recommended a raise for elected officials because, Mike, there's no way that we can keep the very best of America in office.
I hate that argument.
And here's the other thing. There is a retirement benefit for elected officials. Now, in any company in the world, why do you have a retirement benefit? Why?
So that, when people retire after spending their entire working careers in said job, that they then have some means of living in their retirement years.
But not just for the reasons of socialism. It's for the reasons that you want to attract the very best people into office, and they're going to be attracted by the fact they're retirement benefits. How's that been working out for us so far?
Yeah, I don't know. And I have a little bit of a question about that. When you come in and serve a 4-year term as commissioner, do you get a pension after that?
This kind of thing, these kinds of things only kick in after the beginning of your second term. You have to be in office for at least 5 months before that kicks in. But the whole concept of we're going to pay somebody a retirement benefit because they're an elected official, that just really rubs me the wrong way right from the get-go. What the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
So that we're absolutely sure we get the best elected officials? because people don't want to run for office. That Paul Walter announced that the reason he ran for office was to promote his website.
Yeah. Well, he deserves a pension too. Don't you think? Okay, so then personnel administration, investigation of abuse or neglect of an animal. Boy, I'll tell you what, that's one of the things that you want to find out how easy it is to get people behind your plan to investigate the abuse of an animal. Wow, you need only mention it and people start lining up.
Yeah, but shouldn't there be a special section here? Investigation for the abuse of voters, investigation for the abuse of people who come to the weekly business session.
I personally
they would
think
have a picture of me in the charter.
Yes,
you're a slimy maggot, or you're a lying bastard, or whatever it was that the two of them called me.
It would say, "Don't let this guy in." Whatever you do. Okay. So
I question my government. I question government. Do any of you question government? I do.
How dare you?
Well, I was raised that way.
How dare you? Chapter 7, miscellaneous provisions. Initiative and referendum. I'm assuming that refers to, the initiatives that are on the ballot every now and then, like when we legalized marijuana.
Right. And how many signatures do you need to have? And what's the process for doing this? And what about, and the thing where, as it turned out, where it was surprising to me that there was so much controversy about who was registered and who was not. And you may recall, I've discussed it here before, and I used my hands for a chart. We don't need Bill Hunker here for this. That things were moving along pretty well, with a couple of bumps like this. These are a couple of bumps. When we were trying to get people to sign, or somebody was trying to get them to sign for an initiative to put something on the ballot, and then suddenly it comes up to Cheryl Walker being recalled, and the number of fake signatures is all the way through the roof, and then it's back down to, let's vote on other things the commissioners want, and it's perfectly fine. And we know the guy that was in charge of collecting those signatures. That was Bill Hunker. Bill Hunker's not a liar and a cheater.
Oh.
And so, yes, there are always things that are...
He's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, there's always things that can be wrong. But really, these were people who thought they were registered. And as it turned out, because you didn't register, you didn't vote for the president in the last 5 years, and today is a Thursday, or this day has an R in it, or some other goofy...
Right, yes.
And would you think that if all these people, these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have dropped off the register, that just before the election came up, that the clerk might send them a letter or call them or do it? No. We don't do that till after the election. Art Harvey. See, Art Harvey will be up for election too in coming 2016. And guess what? He's going to be counting his own votes.
Nice.
Right.
So, moving along.
Yeah.
Initiative and referendum, elections on county propositions. And I would assume it's similar to what happens with the state ones. Charter amendment and repeal, that should be interesting. Charter amendment, right to bear arms.
That's the one we were looking at before, is it not?
Yeah.
I believe that in solidarity with my environmental cousins, that there should also be the right to arm bears.
Yes, right, exactly. And it makes it a fair fight.
Yes, because you go out there and all they got are their claws. And once you go up against them,
that's not formidable at all.
Mano y mano. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Right. Oh, yeah. You should have to check your gun. Before you go, you meet them with, equal
footing,
armament. Yes.
Equal armament. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, a charter amendment, due process and just compensation, and that's going to deal with some of this. What did you call it? It's not eminent domain, but
elected officials compensation committee.
No.
It wasn't. Yeah, it's no. They don't like the idea that is now called that everybody calls it eminent domain. They decided to call it a resolution of necessity because that just sounds like it's so necessary.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and it just sounds innocuous.
Yes.
Okay, so more due process in the taking of assets. Yeah, and that ought to be interesting because that not only applies to if they are exercising eminent domain, but let's say, for instance, this situation with the miners.
Yes.
Okay.
And also the emergency operations plan, where the previous sheriff, this constitutional sheriff that we had, okay, so in many things, yes, he seemed to be that, okay, or he was that, or he was a shining example of that. Then when we asked him about the emergency operations plan, it says right in there that if it's an emergency, that the sheriff can go onto your property. You could be, and a scenario I laid out to him, I said, you could potentially go to someone's house. They've been storing up and getting ready. Man, they are preppers, the magnificent preppers. They got the whole vehicle all loaded up. The kids are in there. Everybody's got their water. They've all got their radios for communications. They got everything they would need. And you go up and you go, wow, that is just the best prepared you're going to need to get out of the vehicle. But why? Because we need the entire vehicle and all the contents.
Yes, that's right.
They can do that. Constitutional sheriff. So we asked him, well, it even says in here that you could go onto someone's property and you could take it and not even leave a note. Well, I'm not aware of it saying that. And then,
right.
And in the same paragraph, when he's standing there, well, I am aware. Hey, are you not aware or you are aware? So you can't ask another question. You're not allowed to ask another question. So he was both aware and completely not aware of the fact that it says that. Now, where's the constitutional sheriff part kick in eventually?
Well, interesting. Yes, and I agree. But that falls into this next section here. Section 29.3 Charter Amendment prohibits advocacy of the forfeiture of constitutional rights.
Wow. See, yeah. I didn't know that was in there. I did not know. It prohibits the advocacy of the forfeiture of constitutional rights. So is Rika Brown in a lot of trouble now?
Yes.
Tell him why, Mike. Tell him why.
If she was involved in local government, she would be, because the advocacy of the forfeiture of constitutional rights, which she is all for. She's all for the local government taking your constitutional rights if they deem necessary.
First Amendment.
Yes.
He believes that there are certain people, I'm one of the certain people, that should be denied the right to speak at any time. And she's been doing this for years. We showed you in a previous video how she's been every year. This comes up on the radio or at a meeting of the county commissioners. They should not be allowed to speak. And if you just stop them from speaking, why, that would put a chilling effect on everybody else in the room. It would. And it happened to Judy Ahrens just last week.
Yeah. Okay, then 29.4 Charter Amendment, search and seizure. I'm assuming that just talks a little bit about Fourth and Fifth Amendment stuff. Mm-hmm. Fees.
Oh, that's a big one.
Fees ought to be interesting.
That's a real big one. This document's more interesting than it may have seemed at the beginning. And yes. Fees, what they decided to do now, what the commissioners did in the little back room, and we showed you a video about that. I've not seen all these videos. Wait, you're not watching our videos? That they decided that what they would do is that they would attach a temporary fee that would last for a little while. How long is that little while? Oh, up to a year, maybe more. A temporary fee. That way they don't have to go through the procedure written out in the charter about what they're supposed to do. It's just a temporary fee for a year.
Yes.
And maybe longer.
And so, people, why are you not paying attention?
Well, you are now.
This stuff is important. Okay, so let's see.
One more
fees.
Thing. Mike, we all reserve the right to be smarter today than we were yesterday. Okay, so
yes, I reserve
going through this charter. This is one of our charter rights to be smarter today than yesterday. It's the next section. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so vote on private management of county properties and fees.
Well, you know, this had to have come up because there was a question. It's an amendment. So the people cared enough to vote in a 2/3 majority to make this amendment to the charter because there was something going on at that time with private management of county properties and fees.
Yes.
Okay. What's the next one say?
So the next thing is a prohibition of income tax.
There you go.
Yeah, which is nice because you know what? Not very many municipalities have an income tax, but you know what? I was doing business for a period of time in the city of San Francisco, and they have an income tax there. And let me tell you what, I never met. As a matter of fact, up until like a couple of years ago, I still kept getting, letters from them saying, "Hey, you owe us money. You've clearly been doing business in the city of San Francisco." I hadn't even been there for 10 years. And they just beat you. And then they were then sending their notifications to the state of California. And the state of California is going, yeah, that's right. We went in on this too. You owe us 10% of everything you made or whatever. And so we're lucky that we don't have the city of Grants Pass or Josephine County hounding us for income tax, because you know they would be.
So the next one says charter amendment about speech and religion. We're definitely going to look at that one carefully.
Yes. And restricting of nudity, that Dale's going to be in big trouble on that one. I predict.
Nudity. Now, hold on a second. Now, wait a second. Just how am I supposed to bear arms if there's some kind of restriction? Well, never mind. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, but there is a restriction on nudity in our charter. Now, I got to tell you, as much as it makes me kind of want to gag, the whole idea of Keith Heck, let's go on to the next amendment.
Yes. Okay. It has something to do with parents and children.
Really?
I'm assuming it's a prohibition on parents and children, or at least a prohibition on children, because as I said in social media today, I hate children and puppies. So
look, I think there should be a prohibition against screaming children in the meetings of the Board of County Commissioners of the weekly business session. Now, if you talk with one of our local pastors who shall remain nameless, his initials are Dennis Weber, he thinks that we scream at the meetings. And I was somebody's child at one point.
Yeah, this is mention number 186.
That's exactly right. Oh, yes. I'm not going to let him forget that he was telling his parishioners that he knew what was happening in this county when he had no idea what was happening. It does border Dennis Weber on a lie, you know. I mean,
I wish people, it's so many people. I've seen this over and over and over. People say that crazy stuff happens at the weekly business sessions. These people clearly never go to them. And if you're one of those people, would you just knock it off? You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, and the other thing, too, is if you look at this website over here, this non-commercial website, you'll see right here in the center on the front of our website, you'll see a picture of a robot breaking into someone's vehicle. And the original wording for "you are experiencing an automobile accident," like hell I am. Okay, well, this says you were experiencing a crime wave. And in this thing, Mike, help me out here. I've almost lost my way of where I was. They were saying tell me what we were talking about there, bud. Boy, I was headed toward a great conclusion.
Oh, well, you were talking about the little movie that you made here.
Yeah,
but now you're pointing at yourself.
No, I'm supposed to be right here. I'm pointing at you. Okay.
Yeah,
but what amendment were we on there?
Okay. Hang on a second here, for crying out loud. Now you've got me all confused. Okay. We're down to charter amendment restricting nudity, parents and children, and then the final chapter 8.
Yeah.
Transitional provisions.
No, it's not about transgender propositions.
Yes.
Never mind. Just stop bugging me with this kind of stuff.
Continuity and effective date. Yay! That's the table of contents in the can. Now, people, you can only expect this to go on for. It may not be 105 weeks, but it probably will be, at least half of that.
We will be talking in depth about the charter so that you know what it is that you're saying. Hey, that's against the charter. Well, I can't guarantee that they're going to care about I mean, Keith Hicks says, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care. He left that out of his police report. I wonder why he left that out. But at least you'll know what it is, and we're going to try to present it to you. We'll desperately try to present it to you in sort of a lively way. We can kind of chuckle at our antics. And this is me.
Or not.
Or not. And then we'll try to make it sort of entertaining so that you can see this instead of watching Game of Thrones at 7 o'clock. But you can also click on it any time in the rest of the week and watch it again and again and again. That'll be fun for you.
Right. And I think, you know what, it was, although it seemed odd to spend that much time on the table of contents, we know what to expect in upcoming shows here. We know, and some of these we're more interested in than others, and we will probably, do a very fast skimming of the non-interesting parts of it. Because
I don't want to spend a lot of time with transgender opportunities or whatever that was called.
Yes.
Right. But
because you've already you're post-op now.
Yes, I've been through all that. That's right. No, they've already approached me. It's going to be free, Dale. No thanks. No thanks. I told you no thanks.
Yes.